How do you actually know if you love yourself? This is probably a question you never asked yourself before. Instead, you ask questions: how do I love myself more? What can I do? What can I change? What can I buy to make this self-love thing work for me? But what you don't understand is that self-love is not an achievement. It's not a destination. It's not a checklist. It's not a product that you end up buying. Self-love is a state. It's a feeling that you naturally settle into, where you feel connected and aligned with yourself. And today I want to help you answer this question for you in a way that it's real and honest. Because before you even ask, how do I love myself? You need to ask, do I even love myself right now? Do I even love myself at all right now? And ask yourself, where am I actually on this journey? Because once you are aware of that, you're able to start seeing more clearly where you're abandoning yourself, what self-love actually looks and feels like, and the signs that show you that you have actually made it to that place of deep self-acceptance. So if you want to know what it really means to love yourself and how to know if you're there, then this video is for you. Right now, you're doing everything that you thought you should do. You read the books, you say the affirmations, you take the bubble baths, you go to therapy, you journal, but somehow you are still feeling like you're too much in dating. You feel like you struggle with boundaries. You fall for people who give you breadcrumbs or people that do not see your value. You overthink everything you said or did on a date, and you overanalyze it with yourself or with your friends after the date. And you feel like your worth depends on who chooses you. There's still this constant internal tension where you feel like, why do I still feel like I'm not good enough even though I'm doing all the work? You might think of yourself as self-aware, but deep down you are still carrying old programming and old beliefs like, oh, maybe I'm too hard to love, maybe I have to prove that I'm worthy of a good relationship. Maybe if I was just a little bit softer, a little bit more prettier or more mysterious, maybe then he will have stayed. And what do you focus on? You focus on proving yourself. You focus on proving your worth, proving that you are lovable. You're controlling how others see you, and you're fixing yourself for love instead of feeling whole within. And your identity, a high-functioning woman who still believes that she's not lovable just the way she is. Your mood could be driven and hopeful, but you're exhausted, you're a little disconnected, you're always trying to become better and be better, but you're never really feeling safe within. Hi guys, I'm Andriana, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you all of the false self-love signs you might have fallen for, and show you all of the subtle and hidden ways where you abandon yourself without realizing it. And then I'm going to show you the real mindset and emotional foundation of a woman who actually and truly loves herself. So let's get into it. So let's talk about what you think self-love is, but it isn't. First of all is performative healing, meaning anything that you do to fix yourself instead of to connect with yourself. And this is simply a projection of your inner critic instead of your inner love, because your inner critic doesn't accept you as you are. And that's why you're so obsessed with becoming better instead of loving who you are right now. And listen, I'm not saying that wanting to become better is bad. I am the last person that is going to hate on self-improvement and on change. And I love change and I love becoming better, but that desire to change and to become better and to improve yourself should be coming from a place of love for yourself, should be coming from a place where I want the best for myself. Therefore, I'm trying to optimize myself and put myself in states that are more beneficial for me. Instead of trying to become better from a state of lack, from a state of hate and of not wanting to accept yourself as you are, because you think that self is not worthy, is not lovable enough, and not worthy to be accepted for who she is. So you're basically telling yourself, I'm only going to accept you and love you once you become better, and never while you are who you are right now. Another thing that you think is self-love but it isn't is self-care. Self-care is a mask, and not the mask where you put on your face to hydrate, but the type of mask that you put to hide your face and to hide what is really and actually going on. You can light the candles, buy the silk robes, buy the books, all you want, but if you're still choosing people who do not choose you back, you are still not loving yourself. And that's the thing, self-care routines without the intention of self-worth behind it will never lead you to any real transformation. They will always stay shallow and will never reach any deep layer inside of you where it will be allowed to transform you. What is another thing that you think is self-love but it isn't is over-identifying with being the healer. You're basically attracting people who need help, so you are feeling worthy of love. You are basically attracting people that need help to heal, so you are able to be that help for them, therefore the person that they need, and making yourself in their eyes as worthy. So therefore making yourself as worthy for their love. You are loving from a place of needing to be needed. And that's because you don't believe that you deserve to be loved exactly as you are, without having to give anything in exchange. And the final sign is that harsh inner voice of yours. You're never truly proud of yourself. You keep raising the bar because you feel like your current state is still not good enough for you to be good enough. You intellectualize your feelings instead of allowing yourself to feel them with softness and with understanding and with compassion. If all of these things are not self-love, then what is self-love? Self-love is not a performance. Self-love is a relationship, and it's the most important relationship you're going to have in your life. And that is the relationship you have with yourself. Self-love is the energy that I am safe, I am worthy, I am lovable, even when I am imperfect. And self-love shows up in everything. It shows up in your choices, where you walk away from anything that hurts you, anything that doesn't serve you, without needing any closure. Your closure is simply that it's not in your best interest. Self-love is in your standards. You don't let loneliness, for example, lower your boundaries. Self-love is in your inner voice. You speak to yourself like someone you respect and you adore. Self-love is in your energy. You stop chasing and you start magnetizing, because finally you're so in love with yourself that you're literally turned on by yourself. You're literally so attracted to yourself that you put no one else anymore on the pedestal but yourself. Self-love is in your peace. You feel calm when you are alone and you don't feel abandoned. And I know all of these signs are subtle and internal. They're not loud. No one actually can see them or feel them but you. But they're still so powerful, because you are the only one that needs to know. Because you're the only one that needs to know and feel and see that inner love, that self-love towards you. No one else needs to see it. No one else needs to validate it, that it will make it true. The only way that self-love is true and real is when you feel it, and no one else needs to know. But trust me, the thing about self-love is that even if you're not trying to show it to anyone, it really shows. It still reeks in your presence. So how do you shift into real self-love? Here's some things you can practice daily that will help you build this habit and build this feeling of self-love towards yourself. I want you to develop the habit of having this curious self-awareness and not this constant self-analysis, where basically you ask yourself, what does that version of myself that loves myself, what does she believe she deserves? Also, I want you to have some sovereign decision making. And what I mean by that is that you choose and you make choices and decisions in your life based on alignment and based on what feels right for you, and not based on fear, not based on lack or scarcity. So for example, saying no without any guilt, it could be a sign of self-trust. I want you to be able to make decisions throughout your day where it reflects your inner alignment and not your inner fear. And also I want you to practice emotional safety within. What that means is that can you hold space for your sadness, for your jealousy, for your fear, for your envy without abandoning yourself? I want you to be able to, when you feel negative emotions like abandonment, fear, jealousy, envy, I don't want you to be the first person that goes and criticizes yourself for it and punishes yourself, but like, oh, why do you do that? Why do you feel like? Why do you think that? I want you to be the person that is going to support yourself emotionally in that negative emotion that you're feeling. If, for example, you're feeling jealousy, I want you to go and to affirm to yourself and to show to yourself that you are there for them. I want you to be compassionate and understanding and try to soothe yourself back into a feeling of safety where you, and understanding and compassion, where you don't need to judge yourself for feeling jealous. You need to understand that, okay, I'm a human being, maybe I have this feeling, but let me think this instead, let me feel this instead, because this is the feeling that serves me better. And finally, I want you to affirm your enoughness before you achieve it. I want you to be able to understand that love is not a reward for perfection. It's something that you are already worthy of. I want you to practice in your head the idea that I am enough even if I don't feel like it, even if I don't feel perfect, even if I don't feel polished. I am still worthy, I am still lovable, and I'm still enough. If you truly loved yourself, this is how you will feel and this is how you will move. You will no longer audition for love. You will feel peace in silence. You will express your truth even if it means that will scare somebody away. You trust that what is meant for you won't require you to abandon yourself. You will glow, not from any makeup, but from alignment. Self-love is when your soul feels seen and feels held by you first and no one else. Because if somebody comes and gives that to you first, it will not feel the same. It won't hold the same value as you giving that love to yourself. So let's get into the most important part of the video. If you really want to embody what it is like to be that woman that loves yourself, the only way to do that is to copy-paste the nervous system regulation she has to your own nervous system. And to do that, you basically have to model after her beliefs, her identity, her inner dialogue and inner talk, and finally her body language. So I'm going to give you precisely the code for how to become the woman that loves herself, the code by giving you the identity, the beliefs, and so on, all of the things that a woman carries in her nervous system, the code that that woman carries in her nervous system, and by copying that code and you paste it in your own nervous system, you are able to get the same results. And if you're not, I want you to go back into this and to find the beliefs and find identity and the actions that you take that a woman that loves herself wouldn't take. So let's start with her core beliefs. Her core beliefs aren't just positive thoughts. They are foundational, unconscious truths that she literally lives by. She believes that I am worthy of love and respect just as I am. I don't need to earn love. I already embody it. I already feel it inside of me. My needs, my boundaries, and my desires matter. Rejection is redirection. It doesn't define my worth. Love isn't something I chase, it's something I align with. And finally, she believes that alone doesn't mean unloved. She believes that she is her own safe place. Now let's talk about her identity. Her identity is the most powerful part of her self-concept. And that's because it decides her standards, it decides her choices, and it decides her energy. She holds the identity of a woman who says that I'm the type of woman who honors herself. I am the one that chooses. I'm the chooser, not the chaser. I am a soft but also powerful woman who leads with grace and no fear. I am a magnet for safe, soul-nourishing love. I am the woman that I once dreamed of becoming. She doesn't identify with being the fixer. She doesn't identify with being the exception in order to be chosen. And she doesn't identify with being the one who needs to prove her worth. Instead, she's simply rooted in wholeness. She feels completely whole herself and doesn't need anyone to complete her. Her inner language and her inner dialogue reflects her emotional safety and her self-trust. And this is how her mind speaks to her. When something goes wrong, she doesn't think, oh, what did I do wrong? She thinks that, oh, this simply didn't align and I trust myself to walk away from this. When she gets rejected, she doesn't think, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, this means I'm not good enough. She simply thinks that their inability to see my value says nothing about my worth. When she makes a mistake, she doesn't say, oh, I can't believe I did that. She thinks like, okay, I am human. I handled this situation in the best way I could, and I forgive myself. I learned my lesson through this. I'll try to do better next time. But with what I knew at that moment, I did the best I could, and I forgive myself. And when she's in love, she doesn't think, oh, I hope he likes me. She thinks, you know what? I hope this feels right for me. Her self-talk is nurturing, is grounded, and is emotionally sovereign. She's not needy or self-critical. And finally, her body language and her energy tells you that she's at home with herself. She doesn't need to say anything. You can simply feel it in her presence. She will breathe slowly and deeply, because to her nervous system feeling safe is the most important thing. She walks like she belongs in any room. She doesn't have any apology in her posture. She's able to make calm and steady eye contact with softness and not intensity. She takes up space. She doesn't fidget. She doesn't over-explain. She doesn't shrink herself. And finally, she dresses in a way to express herself and not to impress others. And that's all because her nervous system isn't in survival. She doesn't need to perform for love. She simply embodies ease. She simply embodies love. And this is what she exudes. So these are some daily habits that she does for self-love. Because the thing is, identity must be lived and not just claimed. You have to live your identity and to live it and breathe it. Not just say, oh, I am a person that loves myself. You need to embody that. You need to make that identity something that you show up for every day, and you take actions to prove that identity. One of the things she does is that she checks with her feelings daily and she validates them. She speaks to herself with tenderness, and especially on hard days. She surrounds herself with people who reflect her worth. She protects her energy and she says no without any guilt. She spends time alone without feeling lonely, and she chooses aligned romantic partners over potential. If you're watching this and you're realizing, oh wow, maybe I actually don't know what loving myself actually looks or feels like, please know that this is not a failure, but it's simply the first time you have ever become aware of it. And this is your first step. Awareness is already the most huge step towards this path, and being able to understand this and become mindful of it, it's something that you should already feel so proud of. And that's exactly why I created my journal. It's for women that they think that they've done the surface work, but they still feel like there's something missing. That something missing is the inner work. That something missing is getting in touch with yourself. And in my journal, the first phase is all about helping you build that real relationship with yourself. That kind of relationship that is built on love and therefore is able to then attract love. Just under that phase, there are 5 chapters that are going to help you and support you and map out how to build that relationship with yourself, how to cultivate that self-awareness. We have the first chapter that has to do with the relationship with yourself. The second chapter is understanding self-worth and self-love. The third is quietening your inner critic and awakening your inner nurturer. The fourth is healing self-abandonment and rebuilding self-trust. And the fifth one is setting boundaries without guilt or people-pleasing. Because the truth is, you don't attract the love that you want by trying harder. You attract it by becoming the version of you who already feels safe, who already feels worthy, who already feels whole, who already feels loved. This journal takes you through the exact inner work to become that woman, to come back to yourself and to finally create the love story that starts from within. So if you're ready to become her, the link is in the description. So you don't need to do this alone. I made this to guide you step by step through this whole process. This journal has 7 phases that will allow you to rebuild and to heal so many aspects of you, all of the lessons that you need to learn in order to become the woman who is finally having a healed version of love, and then it's able to become that love to attract it. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, I'm so proud of you. I know that it takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and a lot of time in order to become the next and the new version of yourself. Outgrowing your old version, outgrowing your old frequency requires a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and not everybody can do it. So if you made it this far and if you're willing to go on to this journey, just proves to me how much you're willing to put in order to achieve that. And this already makes you the 1%. So I am proud of you for doing the work. Thanks for watching, and I will speak to you soon. Bye.